Hello everybody, it is Mike's Talks and Thoughts here, back again with another video, and today we are here with another TV series review here, and we have Malcolm in the Middle. So here, as you can see by the poll, Malcolm in the Middle barely beat out Everybody Hates Chris here. That is a great show as well. I'll definitely get around to reviewing that one, but today we are here with Malcolm in the Middle. And before we get started here, for anyone new to the channel, if you're into TV and TV related topics, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button down below. I'm doing TV series reviews, I have rankings, top 10 lists, tier lists, and much more on my channel. So for Malcolm in the Middle here, we're going to be going through a little bit of a synopsis from it, my thoughts on the show, the closing thoughts, a one show recommendation, and also the tier rating for the show here. So Malcolm in the Middle was a show that ran from the year 2000 until 2006. It ran for 7 seasons with a total of 151 episodes, and it was created by Linwood Boomer. And the story follows a lower to middle class family and their challenges with trying to get by in day-to-day life and interactions and activities that happen in their day-to-day life. One thing that I absolutely love about this show is how we follow a normalized family here, and we don't follow anything that's too outlandish or crazy. This is a very grounded family, a very believable family, and something that even you could see in real life or experience in real life. But with the synopsis out of the way, I will be going into a little bit of a spoiler warning here. So if you haven't seen Malcolm in the Middle, skip into the timestamp here. But if you have seen Malcolm in the Middle and a big fan of it like I am, let's get into the TV series review here. So like I said at the beginning here in the synopsis, one thing that Malcolm in the Middle does so well on the show is just having this very believable family. You know, the show, it really is very ambiguous in where it takes place, but from the license plate and the scenery, it is assumed that it is in California here, which is very tough for where the Wilkerson family, that's another very ambiguous thing that we never really learned the family's last name, but it is seen on Francis's military suit, Wilkerson last name, so that is how we were able to determine that they are the Wilkerson family. And, you know, growing up in this area, you know, with 4 kids trying to get by here, and it's very tough, and just seeing the situations that they get in. And, you know, the episodes are very character driven. That's one thing that I really like about this show as well. Like I said, how this is just like a normal family, but it's very character driven episodes, more of that than, you know, plot based driven episodes. More the characters carry the plot in every episode here. This show also is very known for its crazy, lovable, wacky side characters. While the main group can be crazy and wacky, they feel like a grounded family and a family that you would know. But some of these side characters here, characters like Stevie, Craig, Ida, and many more on the show, just bring so much life to these characters and the interactions that they have, especially with Stevie, with Malcolm, and Craig with Lois, of course, and Ida being the crazy grandmother in the show here. These characters just bring so much life to the show and add so much more with the scenes that they have. This show has so much character growth and development as well on the show. One character in particular that I really love the growth from season 1 to season 7 is Dewey here. You know, Dewey, we see him at the very start. He's super young. He's like 6 years old here. And we see his journey growing through an adolescence here. And we see him maturing, kind of becoming like a mini Malcolm without being as annoying. For me personally, Malcolm is my least favorite of the brothers here, or of the kids. And Dewey's kind of got some of Malcolm in him. He's also got some Reese and Francis in him. He's kind of got a little bit of everyone, but he's also himself, and he's also unique. You know, we see a lot of great storylines with Dewey in the later seasons, helping these kids that are struggling, and it's really great to see like Dewey's growth and development, maturing so much faster than the other boys. You know, Dewey has such a great skill set as well. And just really wanted to point out how great of a character and character growth and development Dewey has throughout the show. Another character whose journey I absolutely love to see in the show is Francis. Francis, the eldest brother here, you know, we see in the first few episodes him getting sent off into military school before even the pilot, but we kind of see how he got sent there, all the shenanigans and stuff that went on while he was back at home. And I absolutely loved his military story life. It was great, you know, a lot of great episodes. Him challenging the commander, and the episode where he tries to eat like 100 peeps. Such a great scene here. So many great characters that he plays off of that you don't even really see throughout the story in the military academy. You know, you see them maybe for a few episodes. Francis does really well there, and then, you know, he kind of goes AWOL and ends up going to Alaska here, where he just gets treated like absolute crap. And then finally finds his footing with Otto at the ranch, which was great in the middle storylines here. And at the end, Francis ending up just like his dad, Hal, at a dead-end job for a large corporation. It really shows you how full circle Francis's life has come, from delinquent and rebellion to ending up kind of just like Hal. You know, he's married to Piama, who he met throughout this journey, and we get to see how, in the end, he's pretty much just like a Hal clone. As I said, this show is very character-driven. I've already went into some of the characters already, but one character that I got to address here is Lois here. This is a love or hater character. I personally couldn't stand Lois, but I could see people that did like Lois. There's actually a good friend of mine, my buddy Matt. He actually really likes Lois on the show, and I can see he kind of defends why he likes Lois, and I totally see that perspective. For me, though, I couldn't stand Lois. She just got on my nerves. She stopped the boys from having fun. You know, you wanted to see the boys get into shenanigans, but, you know, Lois holds this entire family together. She's the glue that holds the family together. And that was a great example that Matt gave me on why Lois is so likable to him. And, you know, it really comes off with different experiences as well that you've had. You know, some people have grown up with, like, a strict parent like this, like Lois, that can really connect or even disconnect, you know, kind of considering the circumstances. But for me, I never really had someone like that. So, you know, it's a little bit different change of pace, but I totally see both sides of the spectrum. Like Lois, like I said, it's such a complex character where you can either love her or hate her. And the show kind of makes it both ways, where you love her in aspects and how she holds the family together, and you also hate her in other aspects where she's being so mean and disgruntled towards the boys and Hal. And two of my favorite episodes in which the whole group comes together and the whole family does, and those are honestly some of the best episodes in the whole show, is when the entire family bands together and is one. It's going to be family reunion and Lois's birthday here. You know, this are two episodes where Lois, you know, is at her lowest points, where at the family reunion she's getting picked on by Hal's family, and then at the birthday, Lois's birthday, everyone kind of forgets about her birthday, and, you know, the boys kind of have to make it up to her. And in both of these scenes, we see the elaborate schemes that they come up with, of course, destroying the whole family reunion with the boys for Lois, and then also taking on the clowns in a fight on Lois's birthday. Just so great and so memorable, and why Lois is so integral to this show. And those are, like I said, some of the best episodes on the show, and make Malcolm in the Middle so great to watch. Another thing that I really like about the boys in this series is how they're all, you know, the same. You know, they come from the same family, but they're all different, have their own unique skill sets. Francis here is like the leader of the rebellion. You have Malcolm, who's like this childhood genius. You have Dewey, who becomes a music prodigy, and Reese, who's like a world-class chef. And it's really great seeing all these different aspects and great features and strengths that they all have. Well, they all fall for usually the same weakness, where they just, you know, horse around and play around and, you know, really can't get their stuff together here. It is really great to see when they are at the highest that they are and use their strengths for good and coming together in that way. Malcolm in the Middle, too, also really doesn't have a bad season of the show. From season 1 to season 7, it was an absolute blast and a wild ride. And there was really no dull season. You know, there were some dull episodes here and there, but for the most part, an entire season, there's always some great ones that will make you laugh. Some of the best episodes, in fact, actually come in the later seasons. In the end of one of the later seasons, Reese joining the army is one of the best episodes in the show, that 2-part episode. And then Lois Strikes Back in the final season, as well as Graduation, the finale here, is absolutely memorable. Some of the best episodes, and easily in the top 10, I think, best episodes for Malcolm. Malcolm in the Middle was also a show that was very innovative in something that they were doing that hadn't been really done before in a lot of shows. My favorite episode of the show being Bowling here, and that was such a great twist and turn of events. In this episode, we see the different timelines, something that sort of Community did later on, where how would something play out in a different timeline from what would happen? Of course, Community, Remedial Chaos Theory, my favorite episode of the show, my favorite comedy episode of all time. But with this episode, Malcolm in the Middle, in Bowling here, we see the difference that would happen with Malcolm and Reese if Lois or Hal takes the boys bowling for the night. With Lois here, she's really getting on Malcolm's nerves, and Reese ends up becoming really well and doing really well for himself. And, like I said, Lois kind of, harasses and makes Malcolm's night such a pain, but it's so funny to see. I love the scene where Malcolm is going up to throw the bowling ball, and he ends up throwing it right in the gutter when he's like 2 feet away.
Here's your damn strike!
That's a great scene. And then I love when Hal's going bowling with them, and he kind of goes off on his own, and we get to see Hal try and bowl like a 300 game, and we see his little technique. It's really great to see. My favorite episode of the show. I just love the timeline and alternate timeline theories and predictions and seeing what would happen. It's really great. A fun episode, such a funny episode, and such a creative and innovative episode. And the last thing that I want to address here that I just absolutely love about Malcolm in the Middle is going to be the series finale line here, and how it really connects back with the opening credits here. So in the opening credits for Malcolm in the Middle, it ends with "Life is unfair." And with those lines here, we see how life is unfair for the boys in their journey here. But in the series finale, we see how Malcolm straight out of high school, being the genius that he is offered this job, a 6-figure job, but Lois refuses Malcolm to take the job, and you're like, why is Lois being so mean? In this case here, Lois is looking out not just for her family, but she's looking out for all the families that Malcolm can impact in his life. She tells him that he's got to go to school, he's got to finish out college, go to Harvard, live out his dream at Harvard. And then in learning and growing from his college experiences, taking those and shaping the lower middle class and making it better, and helping other families, like she says with the analogy of him becoming the first president to care about the middle class. I don't know if Malcolm would have ended up being somewhat of a president material, but someone who could just impact someone in that way and make a difference in the lives of many. Like Malcolm could have taken that 6-figure job and been so well off and helped his family, but Lois was kind of looking out for what Malcolm could do to shape and change the world. And it really just harps back on that phrase, life is unfair, where Malcolm at the time, it's not fair. He should be taking this 6-figure job, the opportunity of a lifetime, coming straight out of high school, making so much money. But it's just so great seeing Lois kind of talk to him and show the impact that he can have. So those are my basic thoughts here on Malcolm in the Middle. In closing here, I absolutely love this show. I've been praising it up as high as I can and showing you the connections that it has and the great character development. There are parts of the show that are a little bit slow and kind of drag and aren't as strong as some other aspects from other seasons, but for the most part, this is just an absolutely phenomenal show. It is a great coming of age story, sort of, in that way, and it's a great one following just a normal family trying to get through their daily life as they struggle financially and mentally. For the one show recommendation here, I gotta go with The Wonder Years. Now this is one that came out way before Malcolm in the Middle, back in the late 80s and early 90s was when it ran into. And I've talked about this show a lot on my channel here. But The Wonder Years is just such a great coming of age story. You can kind of connect some similarities between Malcolm and Kevin, not in the fact that they're anywhere alike in their personality, but sort of the trials and tribulations that they go through, going through life as an adolescent here and figuring things out and growing up with siblings and friends and finding their way. I think it's just a great show. Like I said, if you're into that family sort of oriented show, learning lessons and looking at a family that could be very similar to yours and finding something that's realistic, I think Wonder Years would be a great recommendation for you if you like Malcolm in the Middle. And for the rating here, I'm going to put Malcolm in the Middle in the great tier. Malcolm in the Middle is so great here, and it's really bordering on that elite tier. It's almost there. For me, I personally put it in the great tier. Very strong cast, strong characters here, very strong episodes, and just an overall great watch. So yeah, that's going to do it here for the Malcolm in the Middle TV series review. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode here. If you're into these TV series reviews, I have a playlist linked here, as well as in the description I have links to my Patreon and my TV database if you're looking for any other shows that I have seen. So yeah, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care and peace out.